Hey everyone, it's the one and only college football fanatic here. And I tell you what, I think I have one of the best times ever during week one, going to the Tulane game against Wake Forest, going to Atlanta to see Auburn and Washington, and then flying to Dallas to see LSU and Miami. So I had a great time during week one, and I couldn't ask for anything more than what happened that weekend. To talk about some of the games from last week, let's start with LSU. What a surprise. I picked LSU to lose to Miami, but I'll tell you what, offense was okay. Wasn't great in my opinion or to my expectations, but it was better than what I thought, to be honest with you. You know, they were able to throw the ball down the field some, and in the running game open up for Brissett, and then defense was already stout. We knew that they'll be stout already, and defense was just phenomenal. I was shocked that Miami didn't bring more to the table because I thought Miami would have played a better game than what they showed. O-line couldn't block. Rozier not accurate down the field. It just was a bad night for Miami. Auburn's defense is phenomenal, even though they got some lucky breaks. Yes, I said lucky breaks. Let's talk about the missed field goals from Washington, the fumble in the goal line from Washington that could have sealed the game maybe. So Auburn got some lucky breaks. But to come out early and make a statement, don't know why they went for two, but they made a statement early. To me, they showed early in the game that they could pass the ball, but Washington made great adjustments later on in that game defensively. Because if you watch the game early, Stidham had his day with the so-called best defensive backfield in the nation. But Carnell Lake made the adjustment that he had to make, and they were able to shut down Auburn completely later on during the game. But Auburn had one last drive, and they were able to score that touchdown, and then defense of the game with the sacks at the end. So credit to the Auburn Tigers for their win. And then I went to Tulane, and Tulane could move the ball. For them to be in overtime with Wake Forest, that was a shocker, because if you watch that game, you would believe that Tulane will be down probably like 30 points. Two broken plays that ended up with a long touchdown pass to Ankele, and then another broken play that was another long pass and a long run that resulted in a field goal that got them to overtime. But Tulane, once again, can move the ball on their drive and lost to Wake Forest. Okay, now let's get into the game this week. As you know, I start with the local teams here who are playing. Southeastern Louisiana at LSU. Do I really have to say anything about this? I don't think so. I think we all know that this will be a big-time blowout. LSU at Southeastern. It should be. You know, we've seen LSU teams before play around with these small schools. LSU should blow this thing out the water early. Get it over with early. Get your backups and your third strings some time to play. Southern at Louisiana Tech. Louisiana Tech came out the gates early and strong against South Alabama last week, and then got kind of complacent as South Alabama came back, but Louisiana Tech was able to hold on for the win. Now they have Southern, who just got demolished at TCU. They won't get demolished as bad, but they will not beat Louisiana Tech. Louisiana Tech wins this game. And then Nicholls at Tulane. Tell you what, Nicholls went to Kansas and beat Kansas on the last play of the game with a touchdown. Now they're going to go to Tulane. But I'm going to ride with the Green Wave on this one. I think the Green Wave will play a better game. They'll definitely be able to move the ball on Nicholls. And I think the Green Wave will win probably by 2 touchdowns. No more than that. Jonathan Banks got to get more accurate with his throws down the field. Willie Fritz's play calling got to be better. It was too predictable. There was nothing up the gut. It was always either running off tackle or running to the side. There's nothing up the gut. Not enough play action. Well, you know, you got to establish the run to do play action, to be honest with you. So they need to get that going, be able to run play action, and be able to throw the ball down the field, but Banks being accurate. So, but I'm still going to roll with the Green Wave. Now let's get to some of the bigger matchups. Michigan State will travel to Kansas State University. Nick Fitzgerald will return. Me, honestly, I like the hometown kid, Keaton Thompson. I said that last year when Nick Fitzgerald got hurt. I just think the intangibles he has is better than Nick Fitzgerald. You can call me crazy. You can disagree. Hey, it's part of sports. We don't agree on everything. Part of the world. We don't agree with everything also. But I like Keaton Thompson. But it looks like Nick Fitzgerald will be back behind center as the starting quarterback. The Mississippi State offense will score some points. But I think it's going to be tougher than what people expect. But I have Mississippi State with the win over the Kansas State Wildcats. You have Duke at Northwestern. Tell you what, Northwestern came off a tight fought ball game against Purdue. Wasn't easy. Dawson threw for over 170 yards, and you have Larkin who ran for over 143 yards last week against Purdue. And Duke, Mr. Young had over 114 yards on 4 receptions. So this game, I think, will be another close game for Northwestern and Duke. These two private universities. Duke at Northwestern. Both these private universities. I think it'll be another great game. Tight, fought ball game. But the difference will be Northwestern making plays down the stretch, especially with Larkin at running back. One of the, not spoken of enough as one of the top running backs in the nation. I think as the season progresses, he'll be talked about more and more and more. To be honest with you, I see Larkin having another big game this week, and Duke has an okay defense, but Duke will not win this game. This is going to Northwestern. UCLA at Oklahoma. Tell you what, Oklahoma looked fantastic last week. You talk about Kyler Murray being able to throw the ball down the field. You talk about Brown being able to catch passes. Oh, man. And Lamb also. And then you got Rodney Anderson. 5 carries, 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. Imagine if he had 20 carries, how many yards he would have then in touchdowns. Kyler Murray is 9 of 11, 209 yards. Okay. Chip Kelly is the new coach at UCLA. He's going to want to get a spread. He's going to run the spread offense. But I'm not expecting too much out of UCLA in Chip Kelly's first year behind the helm at that school. I'm going to give Chip Kelly a year or two to get the ship running at UCLA. But this is going to be too much firepower on the other side of the field against Oklahoma. I mean, man, I think it's going to be brutal. It's going to be brutal. I mean, Oklahoma wins this game by at least 24 points, hands down. It's just too much on Oklahoma's side as far as talent, athletic ability, experience. You running a brand new system on the other side. Oklahoma, big, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, Colorado at Nebraska. Nebraska was supposed to play, but due to bad weather, they just didn't play at all. Okay, they just canceled the game. Nebraska is picked by a lot of people to beat Colorado. The game is in Nebraska also. Tell you what, I'm going the other way. I'm going with the Colorado Buffaloes. Big win last week against Colorado State. Montez, the quarterback, over 330 yards passing, 4 touchdowns. McMillan, the running back, 10 carries for 103 yards. And then Chenault Jr. was the big man against Colorado State at wide receiver, 211 yards receiving. I think it'll be a tougher matchup for the Buffaloes, but I think the Buffaloes will go into Nebraska and walk out with a win. Everybody's calling Scott Frost the next Nick Saban down the line, but here in year 1 it's not going to be like how it was in UCF last year. His first year in UCF was a struggle, and I think his first year in Nebraska is going to be a little bit of a struggle. He might get 6 wins, he might get 7, we'll see. But the Colorado Buffaloes will defeat Nebraska. This is a back in the day rivalry from back in the day when both these teams were part of the Big Ten. So I'm glad to see that they're playing again. But the Buffaloes will come out with the victory against the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Now, we have Clemson at Texas A&M. Man, Jimbo Fisher got his first win last week. All right, as the head coach of Texas A&M. So, shout out to Jimbo Fisher. Kellen Mond had a good game, 17-25 for 184 yards, 2 touchdowns. Williams, 20 carries, 240 yards. Osborne, 6 receptions, 81 yards. Clemson, they had Furman. And I tell you what, I don't think this quarterback debate for Clemson, as in regards to Kelly Bryant and Trevor Lawrence, is over yet. I've heard all of the noise about Trevor Lawrence, and to see him play, as I was in the College Football Hall of Fame just watching the big screen, the football games on before I went to the Auburn Washington game. Trevor Lawrence, man, I was impressed, to be honest with you. You could tell he's a better thrower. He got so much zip on the ball. It's just like that. Totally impressed. And I don't think it's over yet as to who may be the starter down the line for this team. I think you might see Trevor Lawrence get in this game. But Kelly Bryant will be the starter still for this game. Now, A&M gonna run their spread, but this may be the best defense they play against this whole season. Defense led by Christian Wilkins and Clelin Ferrell. This is an NFL defensive line coming at them. You got good DBs, you got good linebackers, but it start at that D-line, and that D-line can get pressure on that quarterback, which will result in sacks and a hurry-up throw, which can cause interceptions. And I mean, A&M's going to score maybe 10, 14, but Clemson's going to score more. And that defense will cause turnovers. It's too much. Too much for A&M this game so early in the year. Learning a new system. With Clemson coming to town, I got Clemson about 24 points in this game. Clemson going to College Station, walking out with a big win. Kentucky at Florida. We saw what happened last year in Kentucky. Kentucky should have beat Florida, didn't happen. Now they got to go to Florida. And Dan Mullen will have his team up and running. Even though it's a brand new system Dan Mullen has put in Florida with the spread, they'll get this win against Kentucky. I just don't see Kentucky winning it. I see Kentucky being competitive early, but too much at the University of Florida. Florida wins this game big time. Penn State at Pittsburgh. Now, I know a lot of people have written off Penn State already due to the fact that they they almost were defeated by Appalachian State. I'm not jumping off the Penn State bandwagon in regards to that. They played an athletic, talented team, maybe overlooked them a little bit, got in trouble a little bit, but they were able to win that game. The rivalry of the state of Pennsylvania is on the line now with Penn State going to Pittsburgh. And I'm telling you guys, you will see a much better, a more focused Penn State team this weekend. Trace McSorley is going to lead the way. He had an okay game with 20 of 35 or 229 yards. Sanders had 91 yards rushing. Hamler with 67 yards receiving. I expect McSorley to be more accurate, more precise in his passes, and I expect Hamler to get more yards in this game. And I expect Penn State to win this game at least by 17 points. You'll see a better Penn State team this weekend, a more focused Penn State team. Penn State with the win. USC, Stanford. So, Bryce Love didn't have the game that we all wanted to see or that we all expected. 18 carries, 29 yards. So, what does that tell you? Well, number one, it tells you that the defensive game plan for San Diego State was to just stop Bryce Love. And then Stanford went into their passing game. Costello, 21-31, 332 yards, 4 touchdowns. Arcega White, 226 yards receiving on 6 receptions. That was the difference. So yes, go ahead and stop Bryce Love, but they showed they can pass the ball also. So you got to give props to David Shaw, who, in my opinion, one of the top 10 coaches in the nation. I love David Shaw. I think he's a great coach. Able to make the adjustments to get the passing game going once Bryce Love was stopped. Now, USC is coming to town. True freshman JT Daniels had a good game, 22-35, 282 yards. Ware had 100 yards rushing, and St. Brown had 98 yards receiving with a touchdown. USC and Stanford always play tough, always play tight, always. It's always a great game to see. Okay, this is a late night game on Fox, and I tell you what, as much as I want to see David Shaw get this victory, just don't think it's going to happen. Don't think Costello will have the same results he had against San Diego State. I think USC will come to town, and trust me, USC feels disrespected due to the fact that the only talk is of Washington winning the Pac-12. So USC feels like this is a statement game for them. They're going to go in there and defeat the 10th-ranked Stanford Cardinals by 4 points. That's my prediction. USC by 4. And then the game I'm looking forward to the most, Georgia at South Carolina. Boy, did Georgia look good this past weekend? They sure did. Georgia did look good. Alright. South Carolina got a big win also. Okay, Georgia is favored to win. Jake Fromm, pretty efficient, 12-16, 157 yards. Robertson, 72 yards rushing. Hardman had 63 yards receiving. Alright. Other side, South Carolina, Bentley, 250 yards. Dotto, 105 yards receiving. Smith, 61 yards. I expect that we will see a lot more of Deebo Samuels in this game for South Carolina. Dude's a total playmaker. I just don't think, I know he's kind of questionable or probable with a slight injury, but I believe he's going to play. So this is a big game in South Carolina. Big game in a while. Big game in a while in South Carolina. Since Steve Spurrier was there. And if Will Muschamp can win this game, you talk about the hype train rolling for South Carolina. Because all of a sudden now, the ball is in their court to win the SEC East. Georgia, loaded with talent, great defense. It's Kirby Smart is getting the recruits in. He's getting 5-star players. Hats off to him. Good quarterback in Jake Fromm. But they're going to Columbia, South Carolina. Will Muschamp will have this team ready to play. Will Muschamp going to get the best out of his boys. And I'm picking the upset. I picked this upset once I saw the schedule. When I saw the schedule over a month and a half ago. Will Muschamp had a good team last year. Beat Michigan in the bowl game. They're still riding on that wave. And here comes number 3 ranked Georgia. South Carolina, ladies and gentlemen, will win this game 20-17. South Carolina with the upset of the weekend. That's my picks, folks. That's my analysis, my review for the week. I'll be in Columbus, Ohio this weekend My first time going to the Horseshoe. I'm excited for it. I want to see Ohio State defeat Rutgers pretty badly. Can't wait. Till next week. I'll see y'all later. Peace.